Hey up and welcome back to some more combat mission Battle for Normandy. What you're going to be seeing here is some urban warfare in the Dutch city of Arnhem. Arnhem, of course, and its bridges over the River Rhine were the ultimate objective of Operation Market Garden. Monty planned to break through here straight into the North German plain, bypass the Siegfried line, get to Berlin before the pesky Russians. This is where the British 1st Airborne Division dropped in. This is the original Bridge Too Far, and the Arnhem map in the game is absolutely fantastic. Hats off to the map maker, it's absolutely bang on. Everything is where it should be. It looks right, it feels right. Everything's in place for a proper historical battle, but we're doing something different again. For an unexpected twist, I'm attacking Arnhem Bridge with the British Airborne, supported by tanks and more artillery than you can shake a stick at, while my opponent, General Sir Anthony C.H. Melchett again, defends the end of the bridge with German paratroopers, the Fallschirmjäger. So I'm going to be attacking an urban area. How do I want to do that? Well, I'm the attacker, so I have overwhelming strength and I can choose where and how to apply it. So the first thing I've done, looking at the battlefield, is I've split it up into two different approach routes to get into the objective. I can go left and I can go right. And what I want to do is I want to pick one of these sections, isolate it, overwhelm it, clear it out to get into the objective. And I want to go right because I'll have secure flanks. I've got the Rhine on one side and a big open road on the other that I can cover with some armour. And because it's a smaller area to clear. It'll also take me straight into what's probably the biggest enemy strong point in the objective, those buildings around the end of the bridge. And that's about all there is to it, planning wise. It's not subtle and it's not fancy, but I've got a really big hammer here and the problem is looking a lot like a nail. Practically speaking, the game lasted a whole 2 hours, and for quite a large stretch of it there really isn't very much going on that's tremendously interesting. So what you're going to be seeing is the good stuff and the highlights. So, tactical problem number 1. I want to break in to the right hand block here. To do that, I have to cross this big open square and assault these buildings here. That's not a good idea because I know that my opponent isn't an idiot and that he's going to have that big open area covered. It's a good kill zone. More to the point, I can't build up the weight of fire to really suppress anybody who's going to be covering that square, because chances are they'll be right at the back up the main road in the middle where it's difficult for me to get an angle on them. So how am I going to cross over? Well, the first thing I need to do is make sure I can actually get into those houses over there. Now all the paras have satchel charges they can use for breaching, but that takes time to set up and I don't want my guys hanging around waiting for some charges to go off. And obviously I don't want them to go in by the front door because they're going to be going around the corner and expose themselves on the other flank. So here comes a Churchill crocodile. We'll be seeing more of these later, and it's just going to blow a big chunk out of that building so my guys can get in nice and safely. And while that's all going on, I've been moving my infantry up through the houses on the left and right of the Churchill there, just to make sure that that's all clear. Now I'm waiting for something at the moment, you'll see in a minute. So in the meantime I've detached a 2-man scout team from one of my forward platoons and they're running forward to try and see what happens when they run up there. And that's revealed some German infantry hanging around in the house behind the one that I want to assault. It's a good position, I can't get a proper bead on them from the front, but a little bit of checking with the line of sight tool I can just about get the Churchill up into a position where it can hammer that top floor. And this is what I've been waiting for. Smoke. A lot of smoke. What I've got on call here are 2 8-gun batteries of 25-pounders. So they can put a lot of fire down very quickly, or a lot of smoke down very quickly. That's pretty much the only way I think I can get across that square without taking some heavy casualties. There goes the first bunch, and they've actually made it across. No problems whatsoever. a lot more paras are going to be following them very, very quickly. Yeah, now that they're in the row of houses, they're going to start mouse-holing their way down, which is to say they're going to blow holes through all the walls so they don't have to go outside into any kill zones. And the general idea here is to just get as many people into these buildings as possible so that when everything does pop up, we can just drown it in fire. And that is still a crap load of smoke. I've even got one of the crocodiles up there. It should be fairly safe. I would hope, anyway. There we go, there's the mouse hole. There we go, into the next building along. And some more artillery started falling. I've also got some 7.5-inch guns, or I think it's a 183mm, something like that. There's only 2 of them in the battery, so they can't fire very fast. And they're on a fairly slow bombardment. And that's just the size of these explosions. It's just to keep General from moving his troops around back there, because he's probably worked out what's going on now by that huge cloud of smoke. There we go. That is a big, big shell. Excellent. And that's just make it more difficult for him to move his forces around to get into a position to do something about that. Yeah, and here's some dead Fallschirmjäger. That's the best kind of Fallschirmjäger at the moment. Up on that top floor, so looks like they were probably suppressed, and then I missed when the paras came up and Sten gunned them all in the back. That's what we want. We don't want to give them any kind of fair chance whatsoever. Just find them and destroy them. That's a good little crater there. That's something you can lose your car in. Now I'm starting to try and push out the paras into the other buildings. And we got a nasty surprise. I've forgotten to do something important, and while I'm flailing around with the camera, trying to find what's going on. There we are. There's a little team of Germans on the top floor up there. And they've just been stemmed to death. They got a couple of the paras out in the open. Oh, the smoke's starting to clear, so it was a risky enterprise. And the moral of the story is, check all the floors in all the buildings that you're going into. This is why urban warfare takes so much time and why it takes so many casualties. But that said, it's going well. I've got a couple of platoons across now. That's enough to be working with. The tanks are up there. There's one of the crocodiles. So we're in. Tactical problem number 1 is over. And it's just a matter now of clearing out this block, all these houses, all the way up to where I assume that big enemy strong point is going to be. But we're covering that in the next video, I'm afraid. So don't forget to comment, rate and subscribe, guys. Hopefully this is going to be useful for some of you doing some of the urban warfare stuff, as well as entertaining. So hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next video.